Alright guys, welcome back to the course. Today we are going to cover choosing your niche and why it's actually important to have a niche in the first place. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, we need to ask what's a niche? And I like to think about it this way. So think about the whole marketplace as a big pie, and a niche is just a small segment of that big pie. So if you think about your local area, then let's say if you go for just bakeries, then that would be a small niche or a small segment of the whole market of your area. And it's the same with niches. And the reason it's really good to have a niche is because, first of all, you can learn a segment of the market a lot easier and faster than if you were to try to learn like the whole market as this huge thing, because that's pretty much impossible. So that's the number one reason why it's a lot easier to just succeed in a small segment of the market. Then second of all, you can speak and learn their language. So you know that in every single different field, people have their own terms that they like to use and their own way of kind of like speaking. Like for example, in marketing, there is PPC, click-through rate, and all these like weird terms that people like to use because they have meaning inside of marketing. But like if you were to tell like a doctor, hey, what's your CTR, what's your click-through rate, then they would have no idea what you're talking about. Just like if that doctor told you something about like something specific that's a term that they use, then you would have no idea about it. So if you just work with a small segment of the market, the reason that's really good is because then all of these markets have only a handful of terms and way of using the language that they have, and you can learn that quite quickly. And if you can actually use their language and communicate with them, then they're going to see you more as someone who they can trust, because they can see that you understand exactly like how their business works. You know a lot about the terms and everything, and it's just going to help you with building more trust. Now, the next reason why it's really important to have a niche is because you can become a specialist in just that one field. And it goes back to the point I made earlier that, if you speak their language, if you know the problems that they have, if you know the solutions to their problems, then, you can become like a specialist in just one field of the market. And specialists always get paid more than generalists. So if you think about it this way, if you are an electrician, and you just did like everything that's related to electronics, then you're not going to get paid as much as if you just do one small segment of the the electricians that not everybody knows how to do. So let me give you an actual example to that. So one of my clients, and actually past clients, he has a huge mansion, and he has a lift or an elevator inside of his house. And so one time, his lamp or the light went out in his elevator, so it like stopped working. And so basically, he tried contacting his general contractor, his general electrician, and pretty much nobody could just solve and just change that one light bulb that like basically stopped working in his elevator. So he had to call up the elevator company, right? And they came out. This company only works with elevators, and they were able to switch off the light bulb in like 10 minutes, and they charged $1,200 for just that 10-minute work. And it wasn't even expensive, the actual light bulb, but they could charge that much because no one else knew how to like specifically do that small like light bulb change. So if you can learn one segment of the market that well, that nobody else can do it as good as you, then you will be able to demand higher prices than others, especially if you go for a segment of the market that has a lot of money in it. So that's another great reason. And also it's also super important that you can systemize and automate your service delivery if you have just one niche that you're working with and one like main service. So most agencies out there, they work with niches all over the place. Like they will take on a dentist office, and they will take on an info product business and an e-commerce website, and they will take on like a basketball team and like all sort of stuff all over the place. And the problem with that is because all of these niches are in so different parts of the market. The service delivery is really different in all of them, so they can never really just write like one SOP, one standard operating procedure for all of them. They would need to like do everything differently for each one, and the problem with that is because then the agency owner can't really take a hands-off approach, because they will need to use different protocols for each of the clients. So if you can just stick to one segment of the market and just one niche, then all the new clients that you will take on, the service delivery is going to be really similar to the ones you had prior to that. So you can train your contractors and your employees on how to deliver that service. And then if you take on a new client, it's not going to take that much of your time up, because you can just write systems around it and create systems around it, and you can kind of automate everything. And lastly, another great reason why it's important to have a niche is because you get more referrals. So it's also the reason why you can like become an authority in just one segment of the market. Because of that, you will get more referrals. Because think about it this way, if you were someone who owned, let's say, let's say you owned a dentist office, okay? And if this agency came to you and they did an incredible job for you, and they tripled your followers and your revenue and everything, wouldn't you like want to recommend it to all your other friends who also have dentist offices? Of course you would, because you would want to help them out as well. But if you were this general agency and the dentist office would hire you, they would not as likely to recommend you to their friends, because you are a generalist and maybe you didn't get them as good results, versus if you were just focused on specifically dentists, then they would recommend you a lot more, because you're the go-to person for that niche. So I hope you understood that, yeah. So how can you actually choose the niche? Now that we talked about how important it is, and you probably understand at this point why it's important. So how do you actually choose your niche? Well, first I want you to do this quick exercise. So you should block out 90 minutes out of your day and just lock yourself in a room without your phone. And what I want you to do is to make a list of all the niches that you can just think of, and try separating the ones that you're interested in or passionate about. So I will also link below this video, probably like a really big like Google Doc where you can find a million different niches. But also I just want you to think yourself, do a little bit of brainstorming and think about all the different businesses and all the different niches that you can go into. And then I want you to think about the ones that you're actually like excited working with and interested in learning about more. And then the next thing would be to ask the following questions for all the niches that you're interested in. First one is, what problem do they have in their business? Now, it might be that they, can't grow on social media. It might be that they don't have enough clients. It could be a bunch of different reasons. It might be that they don't have good enough content. Then I want you to ask what service could solve their problem. It might be content creation. It might be social media management. They don't have enough time to spend on their social media. Or, it might be something like Facebook ads, which, we do go into this course, but this course is mainly focused on building a content agency. So I want you to think of what service could solve their problem and to identify what's their problem exactly. And then the next question you should be asking yourself is, can I solve their problem and can I get them results? Because at the end of the day, that's what you're getting paid for. You will get paid for service if you can provide more value to the customer and you can make them bigger return than what they have to pay you. So let's take a look at my example on how I chose my niche. So what am I interested in? That was the first question I asked myself, and the answer was entrepreneurship and social media. That's what I'm interested in. That's why I'm making this course. That's why I have my personal brand, and I've been watching like YouTube videos and I've been buying courses and all that stuff around entrepreneurship for years and years. So I knew clearly that this is something that I'm really passionate about and interested in. Now, my second question was, who am I actually serving? And the answer to that was pretty simple. People like myself, content creators and entrepreneurs, because it just made sense to go into that niche because I know a lot about their needs, what their problems are, because I'm also facing those problems. And it's just something I'm, passionate and interested about. So then my next question was, what's the problem that they actually have? These content creators who are also entrepreneurs on social media. And my answer was that they either don't have enough time, or they don't have the knowledge on how to create good content that not only, grows those social media, but also helps them make more money. And then the next question was, what service could solve this problem that they have? And my answer to that was content creation, social media management, and growth hacking. So helping them by creating their content, managing their profile so they don't have to spend all their time on social media, and they can be spending their time working on their business, not just in it. And also growth hacking, because they need to get more followers. They need to appeal to a wider audience and reach more people with their content, so they can make more money with the offers that they offer through their social media, which can be anything like coaching, events, or courses, whatever, anything like that. And so the last question was really like, can I help them, with this problem? Can I solve it for them? And the answer was yes, because I already knew how to create content myself, even in the beginning, because I have a filmmaking background. I knew how to do social media growth because I studied it for a while, and I've been at it for like a long time before I found the agency model. And so, social media management, that was pretty easy. I already knew how to use these platforms. So the answer was a simple yes to all of those questions, right? And I could also outsource it to other people because I at least had a good understanding of how it works. So here's the deal, guys. I don't want you to spend too much time on debating your niche. Just choose one, give it your best shot. And in the worst case scenario, you can always switch your niche. So I don't recommend you to do niche hopping, which is basically when you switch from one niche to another, because like I said, every niche is really different. So you will basically have to learn the whole thing again and again when you switch your niche, which I don't want you to do, because then you're going to waste a lot of time. In the beginning, I did that. And it's not fun. You're just gonna waste a bunch of time. But at the same time, it's not good that I see a lot of people not starting because they don't know what niche they should go into. And again, in the description of this video, I will have a list of a bunch of niches that you can get into and that you can serve. I obviously want you to make your own research as well, and look for agencies that are in the same niche that you decide that you want to go into, and see how much money they are making, see if there's enough market. And a lot of times people are going to say, oh, this niche is saturated, this niche is not saturated. I don't really believe in the word saturation, because if you are good enough and if you're persistent and you are willing to outlast and outspend the competition agencies, then you can always capture a part of the market, because the market is this huge thing and you only need to get a really small piece of the pie. But if you're willing to outwork everyone, I believe you can always get into a market, but it's going to be so much easier if you can actually find a niche or a small segment of the market that is not that saturated. But again, I don't like this term, but for example, dentists and gyms, and maybe restaurants as well. And it obviously depends on the area as well where you live in, but these are the three biggest niches that almost every agency reaches out to because of the previous really big social media marketing agency programs that were out there. And just make sure you do your own research as well, and you just use common sense and don't overthink it. So action step for today is to choose a niche for your content agency. And again, go in the description of this video, check out the list of the niches I put together, select the ones that you're interested in, ask yourself the following questions, and then do a little bit of market research, see how other agencies are doing, see how much the average revenue is with these businesses, how much profit they are on making on average, and then you will have a better idea of how their businesses work. And then you can kind of see how much you could charge for your services for them, for it to make sense for them. And yeah, just do it and get started as soon as possible.